This week I want to share with you 5 business mistakes I made my first year as a private investigator and tell you one thing I did right. Hi, this is Larry Kaye with ShadowAnyone.com and the creator of the Investigator's Ultimate Guide series, which is premium private investigator training from someone who's been there and done that. Now, these 5 mistakes are maybe not the 5 worst mistakes that I made. Maybe there's another video somewhere along the line for that. And they're not in any particular order of best to worst, worst to best, that type of thing. The thing is, I want you to avoid these 5 mistakes. The first one I have to share with you, okay, this may be my biggest mistake. This was certainly a big one. You've got to avoid it. I've preached it many times before. Number one, I quit my day job way too soon. Business and motivational speaker Jim Rohn, a genius in the business world and a guy who's gotten, as near as I can tell, 99 to 100% of life right, is Jim Rohn. Look him up. He's amazing. Good books, good videos, good everything. One of the things that Jim taught back when he was alive is that profits are better than wages, but you need wages until you have profits. Now, what did he mean by this? The profits from a business, that's the way to go. If you can make profit from a business, all right, do that. But in the meantime, you got to hold a job. You got to have wages that you earn from a job until that profit gets moving, until your business is built up. This was a mistake I made. I just quit my day job, and that reliable, steady flow of money just was not coming in anymore. And I kind of found myself in the deep end rather quickly. Now, what's the cure for that? Okay, A, don't quit your day job too soon. But B, maybe it's the one thing I did right that I'll tell you about here in a little bit. Number 2, a mistake I made my first year in business as a private investigator. I bought too much stuff. Again, if you followed me for any length of time over the last 6+ years that I've been here, don't buy stuff. Nowadays, you can get stuff delivered to you overnight, easily, all the time. You click a few buttons on the computer, it gets shipped to you, you have it the next day. It won't be long before people watching this video will click a few buttons on the computer and a drone will drop off something at their front door. You can get things at the last minute if you need them, generally speaking, right? But you don't need to buy them just in case. And I'll bore you with the story. I bought a tracking system for a car that was wildly too expensive, and this is back when they cost $2,000. I spent $2,000 on a tracking device for vehicles. It was a passive device. It just gathered the information. You had to go put it on. You let the person drive around for a few days. You come back, you fetch it, and you download the information. Extremely helpful to have, especially when you can use it legally, which back then it was no problem. But I had this $2,000 piece of gear that I used, I don't know, maybe a couple of times, but I bought it too soon. Never really did need it. But here's the thing. I had a radio interview, a large radio interview on a major station during drive time in my market. And I thought, oh, if I had this, it would be something I could talk about on the radio, and that would get me more business. Well, that's just not the way it worked out. And honestly, that's just never the way it works out. Don't buy a lot of stuff just in case you need it. Buy the basics that you need, and that's it. What you really need to do is, well, exactly what you're doing now. Learn the business. Fill your head with the information that's going to allow you to do the job. If you know how to do surveillance, if you know how to do surveillance well, and you've only got a $100 used camcorder to go out with, well, you're going to be able to do the job most likely. You don't need that $500 camera or the $3,000 camera. If you do get those more expensive pieces of gear, and maybe $500 is a reasonable amount to spend for a camera if you're going to do this professionally. But when you do get that gear, if you're able to do the job with the $100 gear, then you're going to be so much better with the $500 gear. And if you don't know how to do the job with the $100 gear, all you've done is bought expensive gear to mess up with. Number 3 mistake I made my first year in business as a private investigator, I did not pursue law firms as potential clients. I had this misguided feeling that I didn't want to be beholden to these men and women to throw me business, to give me business. I thought, well, if I can go generate my own business whenever I want, then I don't need to be beholden to anybody. Completely wrong way to think about it. Law firms are a good, reliable, repeat source of business, and they will get you other law firms. There's a small world. People talk, people share. You might find yourself in court with opposing counsel giving testimony on something, and then get a call from that guy a year later, say, hey, are you taking on any new clients? So law firms are wonderful because they are repeat business. Once you've got them as a client, they want to keep you. They don't want to search around and find another investigator or process server. They just want to use you. It's yours to lose at that point, and you don't have to spend another dime marketing to them. Now, yes, probably you should be doing something. And for me, you know, I'm an old school guy. You know, I drop a letter in the mail to all my clients every month. That's what I used to do. Maybe giving them a little clipping from a newspaper that I thought might interest them, maybe giving them a reminder that I'm here, of a service that I offer, that type of thing. And boy, those letters did generate business, so don't miss that. But go for law firms if you're looking for that steady repeat business. Number 4, a business mistake I made my first year in business as a private investigator is I did not take criminal defense cases. I've talked about this many times before. You know me, I'm very pro law enforcement. I am not going to help the bad guys get a lesser sentence or get away with the crime that they did. I'm very good at what I do. I just was not interested in that. Stumbled into doing criminal defense work, just a case I couldn't say no to, and found that, you know, as good as I am, if they did it, there's not a whole lot that I can do for them. I can bring the evidence to the defense attorney to say, here's what I found. Here's what I think the prosecution's got. You guys make a decision based on that. There's no moral quandary with this whatsoever. You can work defense cases and still be a good human being, still be a good investigator. Those guys that commit crimes are guaranteed the same rights that you and I are guaranteed. If we don't let them have their rights to, you know, a good defense, then you and I could lose our rights to a good defense. Sorry, that's just the way it works. Number 5 business mistake I made my first year as a private investigator, and if you've even considered opening your own business, or if you're a little bit into it, or if you've been doing it even for more than a year, this is one that comes as no surprise. I didn't have enough capital. Look, it does take some money to make a business go. Every business, that's just the way it is. Can you imagine wanting to open a restaurant with no money? How do you need at least a space. First month, last month, you need to put seats in there. You need kitchen equipment. You need to hire cooks. The overhead is ridiculous. And you're not making money the first year. You're not turning a profit. You may have some revenue. People may buy food from you. They may eat their meals in there. But you're going to be moving backwards for that first year. That's pretty much a guarantee. Do you think our business is any different? We have certain expenses that we got to cover every month, whether or not we're providing service to somebody, whether or not we're making any money, got any revenue coming in. Look, you may not think of it as an ongoing, reoccurring expense, but your license costs money every year. It costs money that first year when you first get it. You got to pay insurance every month, month after month. You got to keep your phone line up and running. You got to have internet access, a working vehicle. You have expenses that, whether you have a client or not, it's going to cost you money just to be in business. If you don't have what we kind of refer to as a runway, some money to get you by in the lean times there, especially in the beginning, then you're in trouble. So get a good idea, a good realistic idea of what it costs you to be in business every month, and maybe that's $300, maybe that's $500. I don't know your conditions, your specific circumstances, but if you know, okay, I got $1,500 in savings and it costs me $500 a month to keep my business open, you got a 3-month runway. You got 3 months and then you're out of money. No money, you ain't got a phone for people to call you. No money, you ain't got a website for people to reach you at. No money, you can't pay insurance. You know the insurance company is going to report to the state that they've revoked your certificate of insurance. You are out of business. Look, it was hard for me early on. I don't want it to be that hard for you. So save as much money as you can. Conserve the money you can. Don't be, like I said on the previous point, don't be buying frivolous things you don't need. Try to make that runway last as long as possible because you really do need it. Now, the good news, the one thing I did do right my first year in business as a private investigator, and this will help with a lot of these other points, including not having enough capital. It'll help compensate for a lot of mistakes you make. The number one thing I did right my first year in business and continue to do is marketing. Don't click away. This is so important because I'm not talking about spending money here. I'm not talking about buying ad space or anything like that. I'm just talking about understanding the benefits that you offer to clients and selling those benefits, reaching out to people, being a resource for people, genuinely helping people, and then they hire you. It's wonderful the way that works. Look, it's kind of easy to get this wrong. If you're out there in the world in social media, online, in person, whatever it is, just pushing your company name, John Doe Investigations, John Doe Investigations, call John Doe Investigations. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Think about what it looks like from the outside to people who are trying to hire a private investigator. We all look exactly the same. We're all exactly the same to them. Go look at 10 different investigators' websites. They're all the same. We're professionals. We have this much experience. We have these certifications. We have previous experience. And we offer these services. And then they list a dozen things they do: infidelity cases, skip tracing. They might say missing persons instead to make it a little more clear. Surveillance. They'll list all the things they do. We're all the same to somebody looking from the outside. You have to stand out. And part of that is marketing. Writing articles that help potential clients. Having those resources for free either on social media or online on your website. Just genuinely being helpful to people and getting out there that you have resources to help them. That is good marketing. And there's a variety of ways to do that beyond the scope of this video. But if you focus on marketing and getting leads, other things will fall into line. I'm going to presume you're a good investigator, that you're good at your job. So I'm not too concerned that you have to get so much better so quickly in order to do your case as well. I'm working from the presumption that you know what you're doing. If you know what you're doing, concentrate on getting clients, getting leads. That's really all that you need to be working on. And when you get a case, then you knock it out of the park. I know you're going to do well. I know you're going to give them all the attention in the world. Heck, they're going to be your only client for a long time. Why not take really good care of them? I know that's what you're going to do. So work on getting the leads. That's where you need to put your attention that first year. I'm sure there's going to be another video about mistakes that I've made. I would love to hear if you've got any. You want to drop in the comments, because they probably will ring a bell. Honestly, it's not like I'm unique. It's not like I'm the only guy that makes these mistakes. And let me know about mistakes you've made, you've heard about other people making, or general business mistakes that people make. So that I can get them out there and help prevent other people from stepping in those same holes. Let's all learn from each other. In the meantime, this is Larry Kaye with ShadowAnyone.com. Remember, do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing.